Question 31. Wyatt can has at least 12 dozen years of coin per hour and at most 18 dozen years of coin per hour. Based on this information, what is a possible amount of time in hours that would take Wyatt to has 72 dozen years of coin? Go ahead, pause this video and try to solve it. The answer is inclusive of anywhere from 4 hours to 6 hours. So you could put any number between 4 and 6 and it would be the right answer. So let's look at the problem. So Wyatt can at least has 12 dozen coin per hour and at most 18 dozen per hour. If there are 72 dozens of coin, then it would take 72 dozen divided by the rate 12 dozen per hour. It would take her 6 hours to complete at this slowest rate. On the other hand, if she does it at 18 dozen per hour, then it will take her 4 hours. So in other words, the fastest it will take her to complete is 4 hours and the slowest is 6 hours. So depending on how fast she works, it would take her anywhere from 4 hours to 6 hours. Question 32. The post weight limit for a covered wood bridge in Pennsylvania is 6,000 pounds. A delivery truck that is carrying X identical boxes, each weighing 14 pounds, will pass over the bridge. If the combined weight of the empty delivery truck and its driver is 4,500 pounds, what is the maximum possible value of X that will keep the combined weight of the truck, driver, and boxes below the bridge post weight limit? Go ahead, pause this video and try to solve it. The answer is 107. Alright, to solve this, let's visualize our scenario. So we have a truck here with a driver inside, and total they weigh 4,500 pounds. And inside the truck there are X number of these boxes, and each of these boxes weighs 14 pounds. So if we were to combine its total weight, we have X times 14 pounds, and the total of this has to be less than 6,000 pounds, which is the limit. And we want to find out what X is. So we have our equation 4,500 plus 14 times X is less than 6,000, and this is an inequality in which we can solve for X. So subtract 4,500 on both sides, and then we have 14x is less than 1,500 divided by 14 on both sides. So we have x is less than 107 and 1 over 7. And remember, x is number of boxes. Because of this, it has to be a whole number. So it cannot be this fraction. So the final answer, x is equal to 107. Question 33. A According to the line graph, the number of portable media players sold in 2008 is what fraction of the number sold in 2011? Go ahead, pause this video and try to solve it. The answer is 5/8 or 0.625. When we have a graph like this, it's very important to once again read the title. In this case, it stated the number of portable media players sold worldwide each year from 2006 to 2011. And on the y-axis, we have the number sold, but please note this is in millions, where on the x-axis we have years. And in the question, we are only interested in the fraction of the players sold in 2008 to the players sold in 2011. So we are only looking at these two numbers here. So the number sold at 2008 and the number sold at 2011. So the fraction is number of player sold in 2008 is what fraction? So fraction is divided by the number of player sold in 2011. And from the graph, we can see that in 2008, they sold 100 million. So we can write 100 million. And in 2011, they sold 160 million. So we have 160. And the millions will just cancel out. So we simplify that as either 5/8, or if we plug that into the calculator, which is 0.625. So when you put in the answer, either one will work. Just make sure you enter it correctly. Question 34. A local television station sells time slots for programs in 30-minute intervals. If the station operates 24 hours per day, every day of the week, what is the total number of 30-minute time slots the station can sell for Tuesday and Wednesday? Go ahead, pause this video and try to solve it. The answer is 96. To solve this problem, we have to look at how many time slots are there in Tuesday and Wednesday. And from the question, this television station operates 24 hours per day. So each day, they operate 24 hours. And if we have Tuesday and Wednesday, then the number of hours that they operate is 2 times 24, which is 48 hours that they operate. And each of the time slot is 30 minutes. And each of the time slot is 30 minutes, or we could write that as 0.5 hour or half hour. So we want to know how many of this half hour slot are in this 48-hour period. So we simply divide 48 hour by this 0.5 hour time slot per slot. Then we will have to answer 96 slots. All right. Question 35. A dairy farmer uses a storage silo that is in the shape of a right circular cylinder. But if the volume of the silo is 72 pi cubic yard, what is the diameter of the base of the cylinder in yards? Go ahead, pause this video and try to solve it. The answer is 6. To solve this, let's review our equations for the volume of a right circular cylinder. So the area of a right circular cylinder, volume. The volume is equal to pi r squared times the height. In other words, is equal to the area of the base of the cylinder times the height, which in this case, we know that the volume is 72 pi and the height is 8 yard. So we can rewrite that, plug that into there. 72 pi is equal to pi r squared times 8. And we can divide 8 pi on both sides. So these will cancel out. Then we have 9 is equal to r squared. And what that means is this r is equal to 3 when we square root both sides. And remember, r cannot be negative because when we square root 9, it could be positive or negative 3. But because it's a radius, it cannot be negative. Because it's a measurement. So 3 is equal to r. And you might be tempted to write 3 as your answer, but remember, the question is asking for diameter. And we have the formula diameter is equal to 2 times the radius. So in this case, diameter is actually 2 times 3, which is 6. And that is your answer. For what value of x is the function h above undefined? Go ahead, pause the video and try to solve it. The answer is 3. So to solve this, let's find out what does it mean by undefined. This function here is undefined if this bottom here is 0. Because 1 over 0 is undefined. So our goal is to find an x value when this here is 0. So at first, this seems like a very difficult problem to solve. But if we were to let x minus 5, let's say, become a variable a, and we first solve for what the a is when this is 0. Once we know what a is, we can solve what x is. So let's rewrite this in terms of a. So we have a squared plus 4a plus 4 is equal to 0. And if you notice, this is actually a perfect square. So what I mean by that is this can be put into a plus 2 square. If you multiply this out, it will be equal to this expression above. So the only time when this expression here is equal to 0 is when a is equal to negative 2. When a is equal to negative 2, negative 2 plus 2 is 0. So this whole thing is 0. So we can say that a is equal to negative 2. Then this whole equation is true. And when a is negative 2, we have x minus 5, which is what we stated here to be equal to a. And we want to find out what value of x is when this a is negative 2. So we can add 5 on both sides. x is equal to 3. Question 37 and 38 share the same question, so I'll be doing this together. Question 37. Jessica opened a bank account that earns 2% interest compound annually. The initial deposit was $100, and she used expression 100 times x to the t power to find the value of the account after t years. And part 1 of this question asks, what is the value of x in the expression? Go ahead, pause this video and try to solve it. The answer is 1.02. Alright, so this type of compounding question is really asking the increase in the percentage. So let's look into this 1 year at a time to see if we can find any pattern. So let's look at the first year. So in first year, she started with $100, and here after the first year, she earned 2% interest annually. So what that means is that in 1 year, she will start with the initial amount times the increase, right? So started with 100%, but after the year, she will earn 2% extra. So this becomes 100 times 102%. And whenever we have a percentage, to convert that into a number, we put that number divided by 100. So we have 100 times 102 over 100. So we have 100 times 1.02 to the first power, as indicating first year. So now let's look at the second year. So second year, initially she has this amount, right? This is the amount that she has after the first year. So she has 100 times 1.02. But however, once again, after the end of the year, she will have this increase of 2%, right? Which we define that as simply multiplying by 1.02. So after the second year, we multiply her initial amount by the increase of 2%. So this number times 1.02, or we can simplify that as 100 times 1.02 to the second power. And after the third year, so third year, once again, this is the amount that she started with on the third year. So we have 100 times 1.02 to the second power. And this number, once again, is multiplied by this 2% increase, which is 1.02. So we simplify that as 100 times 1.02 to the third power. So now, do you see the pattern here? So basically, every year we multiply the initial amount by 1.02. So after first year, the equation becomes 100 times 1.02 to the first power. After the second year, the equation becomes 100 times 1.02 to the second power. And after third year, the equation is 100 times 1.02 to the third year. So if we were to relate it back to the equation here, the x, what does x is really mean is the rate of the annual growth to the t power here, which indicate t year. So our final equation simply means 100 times 102 to the t power, as this is the starting amount of the money and this is the rate of growth after t years. So answer is this one, 1.02. Question 38, which is a continuation of the previous question. So in this part 2 of the question asks Jessica's friend Taishan found an account that earned 2.5% interest compounded annually. Taishan made an initial deposit of $100 into this account at the same time Jessica made a deposit of $100 into account. After 10 years, how much more money will Taishan's initial deposit have earned than Jessica's initial deposit? Round your answer to the nearest cents and ignore the dollar sign. Go ahead, pause this video and try yourself. The answer is 6.11. So from the previous question, it was noted that we have this formula in the form of 100 times x to the t power, where 100 is the starting amount. In this case, both of them started at 100, and x is the rate of growth. In the previous question, the rate of growth is 2% per year. So what that means is that for Jessica, x is equal to 1.02, but for Taishan, so this is x1, x2 is equal to 1.025, right? Because instead of 2%, now Taishan on 2.5%. So each year we multiply this number, 1.025. And we want to know after 10 years, when t is 10, how much would their earnings be? So let's plug into the equation and solve it. So first, let's look at Jessica. So Jessica, we have 100 times 1.02 to 10. That's the amount after 10 years with this rate of 1.02. And the number come out to be 121 and 899. For Taishan, we have 100 times, now the rate is different at 1.025. Also in 10 years, the number come out to be 128 and 008. So these two are the amount that they will be at after 10 years because they are starting at the same time. So to find the difference, we simply use this and subtract this. So the difference is 128.008 minus 21.89.